Alright everyone, I'm here to give you my second Breaking Bad review of the day. And this one's called Better Call Saul. I think that's how you say that. And it came out on April 26, 2009. And this is season, by the way, 2, episode 8. So I can't wait to review this episode. This was actually a really good one. So what happens is Badger is selling the meth, doing his thing with that. And then a guy comes up, asks him to buy some of the stuff, and Badger has suspicions that this guy is a cop, because just of the way he was. But however, he keeps telling him that he's not. Tries to get him to move it by saying, "Why don't you go beat up that guy over there?" He's like, and then he says, "He'll kick my ass, dude." So then Badger like, "Good point, good point." So then he says that ask me, I'm not, he even made him check to see if he was wearing any badges or anything, like no a wire, and he wasn't. So then he's like, "Ask me if I'm a cop, because by the state constitution, I'm supposed to tell you whether or not I'm a cop or not." So then Badger asks him, and what's this guy's name? I don't even remember his name. The guy says no. Trying to see if I... Hold on. Yeah, it doesn't say his name. Yeah, he says no. He gives him the stuff. It cost like $375 too, because it's a pretty big price. And he ended up being a cop. He pulled a gun from his from his shoe, and the Albuquerque police arrest Badger. And then it cuts to the theme song. And then it's in the real world, and Skyler is getting ready to go to a dinner party with Ted. I think Walter is getting suspicious about this because Skyler, I guess, has been asking this guy, out and stuff, asking Skyler out. So we don't really see Skyler too much in this episode. That was pretty much it. And then Marie calls, thinking she's going to talk to Skyler, but Walter picks up instead and tells him about what's going on with Hank. So she says what's going on with him, how the turtle, blew up, and he had to take care of all those guys. And Hank hasn't really been right. He won't, he got called. I think he was told to go home for the day. And Hank's tells Walter that he won't understand because they come from different worlds. But Walter tells him that he's worried every night that something bad's gonna happen. He woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's still able to get up and kick this in the ass, and that's pretty much what he wants Hank to do. He wants him to get up and face this thing, and he does so. He returns to work, I think, the next day, and then Walter is counting the money. Earlier in the episode, we had seen a commercial where if you get arrested as a criminal, it's called You Better Call Saul, and Badger was actually sitting on his bench. He's a lawyer. And we're going to see this guy again later on, because it's called Better Call Saul. So, yeah, they're counting their money, and they feel like that they're a little short. And Jesse, too, was having sex with Jade, which I don't really blame him, because Jade's actually pretty hot. And he doesn't even have a bed. They have sex on, the floor. But anyhow, Walter, they're a little bit short, and they wonder what Badger is, so they try to call him. He goes right to voicemail, and then he calls his other guys, and they tell him that Badger got arrested. So then what happens is Badger's in there with one of the policemen that was pretending to not be a policeman, and Saul comes in. Saul's going to be his lawyer. Then he offers, he tells them everything that's gonna happen. He says that he's gonna face the DEA, and Hank, when we return back to work, comes up to talk to Saul, and yeah, that was good stuff. So then Walter and Jesse are gonna go in there and talk to Saul to make sure that they have everything under the control with this case, and they both don't want to go in there. And even Walter's like, "Why are they getting this guy?" He's like, "This guy is a criminal lawyer, which is not good. He's pretty much a criminal." So what happens is Walter goes to talk to this guy, and he pretends not to be Walter or Eisenberg. He's going to be Badger or Brandon Mayhew's uncle, and he gives him the money because he needs like a lot of money it was like a lot, $446,000 or something like that, to get Badger out. And yeah, he finds out the DEA are involved now, and he wants to make sure he never talks to the DEA, because if they find out, then Eisenberg and Jesse or Walter will pretty much destroy him, because he's pretending he doesn't know anything about these guys. And he offers to give him $10,000, and he doesn't accept. So later on, Walter and Jesse kidnap him, and they were telling him not to talk to the DEA police, to make sure Badger goes home free, and make sure he doesn't squeal on him. He's like, "Why are you threatening to kill me? Shouldn't you threaten to kill Badger?" But then Walter, they were wearing ski masks, and Walter coughs. And he was coughing earlier when he went to see him, and Saul recognized him and tells him tells him to take off the mask, and they make him give him like a dollar, so that way this just stays between them. And Saul tells them that no matter what, someone's going to jail, whether it's Walter, whether it's Jesse, whether it's Saul, somebody's going to jail. So what happens is they're gonna, and Badger is gonna identify him, that he won't last 2 weeks in prison. So what happens next is they're gonna stage. Badger is describing who Eisenberg is, because they don't know who Eisenberg is, and he's describing him like Walter, but he's not like describing him too much. He talked about how he's like 50. He pretty much described like Walter's bald. Pretty much describes him like that. And they're gonna get this guy. And let me look up his name real quick. Yeah, and Hank's back at his old job too. Let me just see if I can find this. Yeah, it doesn't say I think his name was James or something. But it was this guy who was committed a bunch of crimes because he'd rather be in prison, and they're gonna stay. And he looks like the guy that Badger was describing, so they're gonna stage a thing where they're gonna make this guy look like that he's Eisenberg, and they agree, and it's like a lot of money. I mean, this guy's pretty much a scam artist. So everything's gonna work, but the DEA's there filming them. Walter and Jesse are there. Badger's there, but the wrong guy comes there, because they're gonna stage like a thing where he's giving them the money for the stuff, and they stage a thing, but the wrong guy shows up. He's on the wrong bench, and they know that, so they're pretty much screwed. But Walter drives over on the other side and tells Jesse to get out, and he's like, "But the DEA will see me." So what Walter does is he distracts Hank, because he was there too, and pretends that like he saw him, and distracts them. While Jesse tries to tell him that it's the wrong guy, he goes to the other bench, and then James Edward something gets busted, gets arrested, and then Jesse gets a bed, and like it just got this bed, and him and Jane have sex in the bed, and then Saul finds Walter. He tracked him down. He hired a guy to do it who couldn't even do it in an hour, and he offers to be his lawyer for a cut of the profit that they make. And then that's how it ends. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode because I'm gonna watch it right now. But this was a great episode. The best part was probably when Badger went to the wrong guy. That was the highlight. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna be back in just a few minutes to give you another review.